This episode is brought to you by Border Brewing Company. Check out Border's newly designed Backyard Oasis and cheers with friends, old and new. Also brought to you by the Kansas City-produced film Doll Eyes, showing at the Glenwood Arts Theater at 7 p.m. on July 31st. Speaking of the film Doll Eyes, let's get into it with the very imaginative and talented writer, producer, actor, and director of Doll Eyes, Jason Turner.
You can't film a robbery scene, with a fake gun because you might get in trouble.
Right.
Can you come supervise? At one point, he had to do a patrol around the building for a sec, and somebody rolled up. She saw my actor holding a gun, doing the scene, rehearsing, and she looked. I was like, "No, don't come in here," and her eyes got really big. She probably was like, "Oh no, don't come in."
It's a hostage situation.
And then she left.
The Prince of Possum Trot, the Mayor of Gullytown, a Kansas City kid. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to Kansas City with Jason Nivens.
Stars are coming, fetch my lightning rod.
As I mentioned off air, there's no real way that we start this. We just started.
Okay.
Just like a couple of people having a conversation. But I almost feel like we should start it by talking about nostalgia. Because as a filmmaker now, how many years have you been making films?
About 30 years.
Okay. So were you like the kid running around with the VHS on making videos like that and editing on the actual recorder?
Yes, I was actually the kid that got into the VCR and Technology Center, and I had a class there, and there was a gentleman named Gary Brock, wonderful teacher. He used to work at Channel 19.
Okay.
He worked for public broadcasting after he worked at my high school, but he's like, all right, you can check the camera out for the weekend. So I was doing football games and stuff, and then I was like, I want to start making stories. So I started messing around stuff. Now, had we had YouTube back then, I probably would have uploaded them, but they're on a VHS archive somewhere.
So you still have those?
I do not, but the school might.
Oh, the school, okay.
I might, yeah.
You wonder if they keep it all, if they're just like, who is it?
I think they have them. I think I did reference them at one point, but I don't know. I mean, I suppose I could grab them and see what kind of a dummy I was back then.
I mean, like at the moment when we think back to ourselves as kids, I think we always thought like, I'm doing all right, I'm okay. And then of course, the older you look back on the younger you and you're like, oh, what a knucklehead.
I'm lucky to be alive.
Yeah. How did I not die from stupid shit, but is it your genre filmmaking, has it always been in that sort of sci-fi world? And has that always been where you're most comfortable?
I think a lot of filmmakers try to make their favorite movies.
Okay.
And it's a blessing and a curse because I'm a big fan of Blade Runner, Aliens, The Terminator, which are great movies. But to try and make those on a high school kid's budget is really, really silly.
Sure.
However, I do think that as people get older and get more practice, they say, okay, the reason why they were able to do this was because they had a production budget and they had a schedule and they had, professionals doing the work instead of an amateur hobbyist type thing.
Sure.
And I'd say nowadays, anybody could be that kid running around with a VCR camera because everybody literally has a camera in their pocket now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember doing something. Of course, you remember Dave Barry, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody doing something. We were doing some short as we did. And someone's like, I can just record on my phone. He's like, absolutely not. He was so offended by that.
Yeah.
But now you see people literally having, a little Steadicam thing on an iPhone and the quality is pretty good.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I mean, when you think about how you like to film, do you ever have a moment where like, let me whip out my phone real quick and just grab a little, do you use phone?
I do have to so there's some times where there's some places where you cannot get a professional camera into.
Sure.
So for example, if you're in Los Angeles and you pull out a tripod, you're going to have a lot of people asking questions, but some people are just like, I'm going to get this shot. I'm going to shoot it in 4K. I'm going to color correct it, and you can steal some shots.
Yeah.
I'm not saying do that because you can get in trouble, but Yeah, I've used my phone on a couple projects. I've actually shot some just some short fun stuff on the iPhone, and it's good enough for internet, for internet consumption. If you want to do something theatrical, you really got to have good lighting and everything.
Of course.
So
I think Parker and I were talking about that on the way over here. It was just like, sometimes you have to kind of steal a shot because you don't want to get a permit for a whole day when all you need's 30 minutes, and you hear about those, like the Warriors, how they filmed that completely, for lack of a better word, illegally. I was trying to remember, I was watching the backstory of Ed Burns talking about one of his early movies.
The Brothers McMullen?
That's the one. How they were, same thing. A lot of it's filmed at night because you can get away with stuff a lot easier in the nighttime because there's not as many people out there, telling you need a permit to set up in Central Park or whatever, which I find, I don't know. There is a romanticism, I think, about that when you think about some of those cool movies that got made. Yeah. Not quite by the book, as they say.
Well, William Friedkin, The French Connection, that car chase with Gene Hackman was like legitimately illegal. Like they were running, the real people were just like, they were caught off guard. And I'm like, is that a Hollywood story or is that something they really did? And then you think about it, you look at more movies and more filmmakers, you're like, man, the 70s was a wild time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was sort of part
and
of
the 80s too.
Yeah, but that was sort of part of the renegade filmmakers, right? Like early Scorsese and things like that. And then
the new Hollywood.
Yeah. And then obviously the story is that then Rocky comes out and that's like, sure, it's a feel-good story. What a great tale, but it's also like a Hollywood juggernaut taking it back, being like, no, you can't have these guerrilla filmmakers when we need to have the Hollywood blockbuster out there.
Yeah.
What is it that you feel? You mentioned like having good lighting. What is it you feel like 3, 4, 5 components of a good short film, full film, lighting, audio? What is a good story? Obviously, great characters, but what do you feel like? This is what puts out a good piece.
I think even before all that, just underneath story is the passion to tell that story. And I feel like there's some people that try to be filmmakers and they just like, I want to be a YouTube star. A couple of my family members wanted to do that. And they're just like, I want to be on YouTube. I was like, okay,
right.
It still takes work. So I showed them the ropes and gave them some, equipment and they filmed some stuff. I was like, okay, now you got to edit it. Now you got to color grade it. What's color grading?
Right, and right.
But just having the passion to be crazy enough to do it and put in the work, because I think, having a good story to tell is always going to be good too, because right now, we're overwhelmed with so many IPs, so much, superhero and, book slop and stuff that's being recycled. So having the passion and then being patient with the technical side of it as well, because I learned a lot the hard way, because even my teachers would tell me, it's like, Jason, you can't do this. I was like, why? I was like, well, you can't film a robbery scene, with a fake gun because you might get in trouble.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I remember one time I did a robbery scene and I called the police and I said, hey, we're filming a robbery scene. We have permission from the shop owner, can you come supervise? And this cop's like, yeah, I'm bored. I got nothing to do. So he showed up and we were it was in Independence over off of Truman Road. Yeah. And these people were really cool. I forgot their name now, but they were really cool. They let us film like this little gas station off of Truman Road. And we had these fake guns, but they looked real. Yeah. You can't do that now.
Right.
But back then there was a cop there and he was like, all right, you guys go ahead and, I'll keep an eye on things. And we were asking him all kinds of questions and stuff. And at one point he had to do a patrol around the building for a sec and somebody rolled up. This gal thought that the gas station was still open and she saw my actor holding a gun, doing the scene, rehearsing, and she looked and she came up to the door and I was like, no, don't come in here, and she like her eyes got really big. She probably was like, oh no, don't come in.
It's a hostage situation.
And then she like left. And they're like, so I don't know if she, went and called the police. It was like, the police are already there, but it was so nutty. And you can't, that's the other thing is like having permits, you know.
Yeah.
We were kind of doing that guerrilla, even though we had permission. And, you know, and I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what I was doing, you know. And that's the mark of any amateur filmmaker is having guns and having people that don't really smoke pretend to smoke, you know, just or the alarm clock thing, or
yeah.
the whole indie film tells, if you will.
Sure. What do you think? I mean, you've been doing this now, you said, for 30 years?
I'd say so, yeah.
In and around Kansas City?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mostly KC.
KC.
I've done a couple things outside of KC, but they're very, you know, very niche. I did a film called The Conduit with a buddy of mine, and his name is John Hale, and he lives in West Virginia. And he's kind of near that whole Tom Savini school kind of thing. And it was a practical effects film, and I had a blast doing it. It was like a vacation where I got to make a short film with little monsters and stuff. And it was so fun. There was a really fantastic makeup artist named Cody Ruck. And this kid, like he's in his 20s, but he's like doing like Rob Bottin level of makeup stuff. And I believe he went to the Tom Savini school. So, and I love practical effects. I love, you know, that. Yeah,
define that when you say practical effects.
So practical effects, like, so for example, if you look at John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of puppets and, you know, KY jelly and slime and really, really good lighting on an anamorphic lens.
Yeah.
But digital effects are like, you know, Jurassic Park.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, Jurassic Park was the turning point because that was the perfect mixture of digital meets puppetry. And that was actually the same DP that worked on The Thing, you know, Dean Cundy. And he shot the first Halloween.
Okay.
So he went from Halloween to Jurassic Park, and then he did Hook and, you know, Back to the Future movies.
Yeah.
Great guy. Great cinematographer. I think that's the thing is like a lot of people don't understand, and I don't mean this as a disrespect. I just mean, I think a lot of people say, oh, I could do better than that.
Yeah.
It's like, just because you see something, you're looking at a finished product.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All the blood, sweat, and tears and people that had to die to make it. You know, I don't think a lot of people understand that. And, you know, there's a balance between, do I go to film school or do I learn on the school of YouTube, you know? And there's things you can learn, but there is no one clear path. Everybody's path is going to be different.
Yeah.
And it helps to have a team.
I think number one, that's when you think about any sort of artistry or carpentry, you know, whatever.
Oh yeah.
There's I got to find the right way to do it. How's the exact way to do it? And then you slowly learn like, oh, you put 5 carpenters, 5 directors, 5 music producers in a room. They're all going to tell you this is how you do it, and they're all going to be close but also different. It's I think it's overcoming that. I don't know if it's ignorance, but overcoming that like uncertainty and going, oh, shit, just go for it, and then see where it goes from there, and then learning on like, oh, I should have closed the curtain so we don't get, you know, this or that, this from outside, or I should have rolled the window down in the car to get a better shot of the driver. Just little things like that. We talked about the combination of digital and puppetry with Jurassic Park. Have we gotten with, maybe I think this is probably a loaded question. I probably know your answer. Are we using too much CGI?
It depends on who you're talking to. So like if you look at somebody like, I'm just 2 examples of people that have both used visual effects, but for varying degrees. So if you look at like the very first Transformers movie, it's a movie about alien robots that come down and turn into cars and beat the crap out of each other, you know?
Yeah.
Does great internationally because it is a movie about giant robots punching each other.
Right.
But you cannot build a semi-truck puppet, you know?
Right.
So that is a good application of, you know, visual effects. But then there are some visual effects that are imperceptible and almost like invisible. David Fincher is an amazing technician. He's like if George Lucas and Stanley Kubrick had a baby.
Right.
It's David Fincher.
Yeah.
He's a really good visual effects guy. And he got his start in visual effects. He started on Return of the Jedi, and then he had, you know, his music video career and all that.
Right.
But I don't think there's enough CGI that is hidden well, because to me, a lot of CGI now, I play a lot of video games.
Okay.
So a lot of CGI and AI videos, they just look like video game cutscenes to me.
Yeah.
And I see that and I'm just like, yeah, that is too much CG.
Mhm.
But if it's something like David Fincher, like for example, Gone Girl or, Zodiac or whatever he does it right. And he tries to blend it and make you believe what's happening.
Sure. Is he probably your favorite, Fincher?
He's high up there. I like Fincher. I like older Ridley Scott, and I like James Cameron. And a lot of the movies that I like have been kind of IP'd to death, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there's only 2 Terminator films. There's only 2 Alien films.
Right.
Although even though Fincher did Alien 3, I still enjoy it. But
yeah, how many Alien movies are there?
Too many.
and then the Terminator one, like after the second one, then there's like how many more? Christian Bale in one of them?
Mm-hmm. Terminator Salvation. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many guys played John Connor?
Right.
But yeah, there was a Terminator 3, but Cameron didn't direct it. And it would have been better if he would. But I think he was just like, you know what? I've done this story. I've done it. It's good. And
it's kind of like the Tim Burton and the Batmans, right?
Right.
The first one, the second one.
I did too, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And this, I get a lot of crap for this, but I don't really like Batman Returns.
Which one's Batman Returns?
That's the one with the last one that Keaton did. It's a wonderful Tim Burton movie, but it's not a Batman movie, if that makes sense.
The second one, right?
So the one with Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito.
Oh, right, Catwoman. You don't like that one? Why not?
Not as much as the first one.
Well, the first one made Batman cool again.
Yeah, I think it's because the age that I was when I saw the first one.
Yeah.
And I think the only mistake is that they killed off their villain, like the most popular villain.
Yeah, that was bizarre to me, even as a kid, not really knowing the full depth of the relationship between Batman and the Joker, and like knowing that the Joker was there in the very first comic, and all that. Like, oh, the Joker died, huh? All right, that's weird. But
they couldn't afford to put Jack Nicholson at those Lakers games anymore. So.
Right. I thought Nicholson did a good job. I thought he was
great.
Yeah, I thought I think Keaton's probably the best Batman. Did you watch the oh God, what did my wife call it with the Robert Pattinson, the emo Batman?
Oh yeah.
Did you like that one?
I liked the cinematography of it. I thought it was very well done. I think it borrowed a lot from Blade Runner. And speaking of Fincher, I think it's just basically Seven wearing a Batman suit, to be honest.
Sure.
It had a lot of...
it was raining a lot.
A lot of, murders and clues and, an evil mastermind that's kind of stayed and hidden. But, I thought it was good, but every generation's going to have their Batman. And the next one comes out, I think, in 2028 maybe. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. And I think Pattinson did a good job. I think that where DC is going right now, and this is just my opinion, but I think that DC and comic book movies and all that, they're kind of starting to they've been tapering off for a while now.
It's pretty oversaturated. Yeah.
DC is always going to have Batman. They can make money off Batman movies, even if they're crappy Batman.
Yeah. Do you think that, so where do you got Keaton, number 1 Batman. Who's your number 2? Kilmer, Affleck, Clooney, Pattinson.
I mean, Keaton's my favorite. I actually do like Christian Bale as Batman.
Christian Bale, sure.
Yeah, I do. It was basically a cop movie where he wears a bat suit, but it was, and I think Heath Ledger is him and Keaton are tied as my favorite Jokers.
Yeah. I did like Heath's Joker's pretty damn good.
He was good.
Yeah, I mean,
he's kind of like Tom Waits.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've seen that video too. Where they
Tom Waits.
Smokestack. Right, and it is like the contrast between the two of them, Nicholson and Ledger, is really, because Nicholson's very cartoony, like very very cartoony Batman.
Yeah, he's got a very much like, if you look at Jack Nicholson in The Shining, he's he's very much I can't remember the actor's name, but there's an actor that Spielberg didn't have in his top 5, but Kubrick did. And I think his name was, gosh, I can't think of his name right now. But there was an actor that was like really over the top and really operatic, you know, and he loved chewing scenery, but he did it with such skill.
Right.
You know, and Spielberg was saying, yeah, I didn't like The Shining because I thought Jack Nicholson was a little bit of a kabuki performer. He's really overdoing it, you know. And Spielberg's like, he's like, yeah, that's where I'm at. And Kubrick said, no. He's like, who's your top 5 actors? He named off all these actors, and the one that Kubrick liked a lot was an over-the-top actor. And I can't think of his name.
It'll come to you.
Yeah.
It'll come to you. So first of all, how many movies do you watch, do you think, in a year? And is it new and a combination of old? Is it old? You know, you go back and rewatch, for example, Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I watch, I have to admit, I watch a lot of old movies now, but
to draw inspiration?
Yeah. If it's a movie I haven't seen, then it's technically a new movie to me.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's a lot of movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s that I've never seen that I'm kind of discovering now. And I usually kind of avoid the corporate, you know, Hollywood stuff. I like to watch the independent stuff. I really enjoyed Obsession.
I've heard about this one.
It's not a perfect film, but I think for what they were trying to do and for the amount of money they spent on it, it was very well done.
Yeah.
And it's something fresh, you know.
Yeah.
Got, you know, having, I say kids.
Yeah.
Basically, it's kind of a kids movie, you know, kind of like, you know, the Blair Witch Project was a big deal. It kind of got its, you know, word of mouth going.
Yeah.
But I like newer independent films. And then occasionally I look at a lot of foreign stuff too.
Okay.
I'm really kind of grooving on old samurai films right now.
Really?
They're a lot of fun.
Kurosawa sort of stuff. Yeah.
They're fun.
What do you like about those?
Just, it's kind of like, I've never been to Japan, but I've always kind of been, you know, kind of like a nerd about Japanese culture. It's like, oh, what are the samurai about?
Right.
And one time my dad and I sat down and watched The Seven Samurai. And then he's like, you know, they remade that one. I was like, really? He goes, yeah, it's called The Magnificent Seven. I was like, wait, but that's about cowboys. You know, I didn't understand the concept of, you know, switching it from an Eastern setting to a Western setting. But a lot of people took the influence from those samurai films, especially Kurosawa. Yeah. George Lucas is a huge Kurosawa fan. Yeah. And that guy, like, he shot a lot of really deep focus, well-composed shots, and there was a lot of movement in them. And it's like, his stuff was really, really, it was so well composed and so well done that you can learn a lot by watching some of those older movies. Yeah. You know, now, when I was younger, I was kind of like, if it's before 1980, I don't want to watch it. You know? Right. But I've come around, you know, and softened up on that.
When you watch those, is it hard to turn off the director, producer brain?
It is now. Yeah. It is now. Sometimes I can get sucked into a movie, but it's got to be somebody that's really good at their craft. You know? Like if I'm watching like Full Metal Jacket or Aliens or, you know, Terminator 2. Yeah. Like my brain shuts off and I'm zoning in there, you know? Yeah. But I don't do that second screen type stuff, you know, where I'm like looking at my phone while something's playing on Netflix. Yeah. I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that when I start doing stuff like that, I miss a lot. And I'm like, okay, put your phone down. Like give it whatever it is I'm going to watch, give it the dedication. Yeah. You know. You got a favorite movie or movies you like? This is my annual watching of insert movie here. Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
The Thing, Aliens, John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China.
You know, I turned my son on to that because he's 8 now, so I feel like he's at an age where I can share some of these older films that I used to.
That's like a great one to watch with your son.
So he loved it. I'm going to come back to The Thing here in a second. But what I realized about Big Trouble Little China is that's the Han Solo we would have got if Kurt Russell was cast as Han Solo. Totally. Because like I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this dude's totally trying to be like because. A little Han Solo-ish, you know, like
he totally did
it. And I knew that Russell had auditioned for that part back in the day.
I think he would have made a great Han Solo.
I think if you wanted to know what Kurt Russell's Han Solo looked like, watch Big Trouble in Little China.
Absolutely.
Because he's got the swagger. He leaves the girl. He's got to be on his own. There's that little bit of sort of campiness when she kissed him and he's telling all right, everybody freeze. He's got the lipstick on his face. And you're like, yeah, that's definitely a Han Solo move right there.
Yeah. I think it flew over a lot of people's heads, unfortunately, because it was like he wasn't the hero.
Yeah.
He was the sidekick.
Yeah.
In a movie. And it was a kung fu film, a kung fu comedy, which was absolutely unusual for that time.
And I read about it after we watched it, and I didn't realize it. Because I loved the movie as a kid because it was just campy and it was fun and all that. And who doesn't like back alley situations and secret things underground and all that? I mean, especially as a kid, that's where your mind goes.
Yeah.
But it was a flop. It was a flop because it was a John Carpenter film, right? But it was a flop because they rushed. I guess it had to compete with
The Golden Child.
The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy's Golden Child. Because in the past there was a lot of that going on where there was like, and even still now, where this movie over here is just like this movie over here. It's just two different studios competing to put out the same product at the same time. And I didn't realize it had obviously the at home renting and viewing. That made up for it. But I guess that was the one that made Carpenter be like, I don't want to do big budget movies anymore because it lost money. Yeah,
it lost money. And I think it was also, again, everybody likes to talk about the studio in a derogatory sense, but I think during that, they didn't know how to market it.
Yeah.
I think there was like a newspaper ad that said, "Who is Jack Burton?" I showed Kurt Russell going like this. And they're like, well, yeah, who is he?
Right. Yeah, right.
Why do we care?
Yeah.
But, it was, I think they wanted an Indiana Jones style movie, but they got, more like a Guardians of the Galaxy of the 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it was. And I love Kurt Russell. That guy is he's one of my top favorite actors of all time. And I think he got his start in Disney movies. And then when he did, he played Elvis for John Carpenter one time for a TV movie. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I've got it on DVD. You should check it out.
Okay.
He plays Elvis, and it's actually very good. And when he did escape from New York, that's when he's like, okay, I'm not this Disney kid anymore.
Right.
Now I got my dark movie where I curse and swear.
Yeah.
And people love that movie. And I think he's one of the best American actors, that we've had. And I don't think, he's got a son, Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
And
he's been doing some stuff.
He's been doing some Marvel movies. He's in a really cool movie called Overlord.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's good. It's kind of a World War II military fantasy. And
wasn't Kurt Russell's dad the dad that owned the minor league baseball team, the Brawlers, Ballers, and something? There's a documentary about it. Yeah, I'm almost positive. Like his dad owned this minor league baseball team that was kind of like before the Savannah Bananas. They were kind of just like right. I got to double check but I'm almost sure I remember seeing something because I think Kurt Russell actually played baseball.
And he got hurt. And then he couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I think he also going back to Big Trouble in Little China. I think what was fun about that movie is that it was like a Four Corners movie before that was kind of a thing. So what
do you mean Four Corners?
So you want to appeal to kids, you want to appeal to men, you want to appeal to women, you want to appeal to all ages. And it kind of hit all those marks, but the timing and the studio advertising and all that.
Yeah.
But I remember watching that with my dad, and I was a young kid, and I was like, Dad, that was so cool. He's like, yeah. And we went outside and we started kind of having our own little kung fu fights.
Yeah.
And it was the one time I remember really, with my dad, he really got me into movies, and we still talk about movies to this day. He's always trying to say, hey, you should watch this Western,
Yeah.
But he watched Highlander with me. He watched Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, Gremlins, Back to the Future, all the
classics,
all the big movies, in the VHS days.
Yeah. And
that's where a lot of my film school was. In fact, he kind of got on to me one time. He's like, I know you like this movie. He said, but the tape's getting wore out, son. I was like, but I want to see how they do this.
Starts getting the staticky scratch on it. So your dad was a big influence on you with movies.
Yeah, he plays guitar, but he really likes movies. He likes Westerns, and he introduced me to the spaghetti westerns. I was like, do they eat spaghetti in them? He's like, he's like, no. He's like, they're Italian, you know?
Yeah.
And
I mean, as a kid, you're like, wait, what doesn't make any sense?
why is it called spaghetti western?
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed Big Trouble in Little China. And in fact, I believe that one actually started, they were going to make it a Western. It was kind of like, it was pitched as John Wayne gets in a fight with Chinese demons in the Old West.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, that sounds like an awesome movie. But it was too expensive. So I was like, okay, let's update it. But, we'll still have some of the same stuff, but it'll be, contemporary San Francisco Chinatown.
Right.
So, but if you ever have a chance, listen to the commentaries between him and John Carpenter on their movies. It's fascinating. They have stories. They tell jokes.
Yeah.
And most of it's John Carpenter griping and Kurt Russell laughing.
For a while there, years ago, I would do that a lot. I would have the director's commentary during movies.
There's a good film school there.
It is.
A very good film
if
school
you can't
there,
afford a film school, it's a great way to because I was taking in so much and learning about so much, like understanding the setup, the shot, the actors, all that stuff. You've referenced, I said I want to circle back on this, The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie as a kid. I got the double disc at Half Price Books because I wasn't paying attention. I got the prequel, which was the sequel on accident. I was like, I want the original. And so then it was like $1 more to get both of them. I haven't seen the prequel.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that one?
I have.
How is it? Okay. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
but I keep wanting to watch The Thing with my son, but I wonder, man, like, I don't know. He's 8. I don't know if that's,
might be a little young.
Because I just think about that, just some of the scenes in that thing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe when he's, I don't know how, I don't know your son, but maybe when he's 10, I don't know.
I mean, he really got into Stranger Things, and that got.
Well, there you go.
You know what I mean? Like,
maybe he could handle The Thing then.
I think so.
Yeah. He might have some. He might have some interesting commentary on it.
knowing the boy, he will. He's not shy on anything. So, how often, like over a course of a year, how many films are you working on? And are they shorts? Are they full length? Is it straight to YouTube? Is it like, I know you've got. We'll talk about it here in a second, but I know you've got something rolling out towards the end of the month. Mm-hmm. Like how does your schedule look, like year in, year out?
Well, generally, if I'm not taking care of family stuff and working, I'm doing like a couple of shorts a year,
Yeah.
I'd like to do more, but I've actually tried to interact with other people's productions too. And I've been hired on a couple of other people's projects. But generally, this feature that I just finished up, it was this basically kind of like a bucket list movie, because I said I need to do a feature film before I turn certain age, and I'm like, I need to do this. So I finished it, and what I didn't have in money, I had in friends and resources and experience, and time. So. Post-production on some movies, takes a certain amount of time. I think mine took 3 times as long because I was doing a lot of the post-production myself. So, and then I had some help from Parker Johnson, who appears in the movie. He did some sound work.
Why do I know that guy? I know that cat. How do I know that dude?
I don't know that.
No idea.
He sounds kind of wild.
Yeah.
And he plays a pretty cool character in it. And Parker actually, there's a thing that whenever you're making a movie that if you're a control freak, you're going to make enemies.
Yeah.
If you want to be a control freak, be a writer.
Yes.
If you want to be, a collaborative person, be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And there's a certain thing that you have to kind of relinquish control. And after a while, my actors were like, what if we tried this? What if we tried this? And after a while, I was just like, take the script and it's gone. It's like, we're starting fresh. It's like, what if we did this? What if we tried that? And that's my juice.
Yeah.
I like getting creative with other people. And I love it when other people are like, wait a minute, what if we did this? And then suddenly they're inspired. I think creativity is like, it's like a drug.
Yeah.
And like, I'm addicted to it, Sometimes it makes you exhausted.
Yeah.
But when other people are creative with you, then, after a while, I just kind of let the actors, it's like whenever you do a take, it's like, okay, take 1, you do it the way you suggest. Okay, take 2, can you try it this way? take 3. All right. What did you have in mind? Did you want to try something,
Right.
And I try to do like 2 to 3 takes max because I was shooting on the Arri cam, professional camera. And that camera is basically a refrigerator with a lens on it.
Yeah.
It's old, it's huge, but it gets a great image. And I was operating that with my friend, Chris Harris. But a lot of times I was just turning it on and doing it myself. And okay, am I in focus? All right. And then I'd go act in front of it and then have to cut.
Right.
And shooting at 2K ProRes after a while, on these, 15-year-old cards, it's kind of like, I don't know if I should do this by myself anymore.
Yeah,
I need to get some help. But I wanted to prove to myself, it's like, okay, I'm going to make a feature film. I'm going to cast myself in it because the one thing about making a movie is a lot of people are excited when you're talking about it. When it comes time to do it, schedules, life, weather, locations fell through, anything. You have to basically be able to pivot.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot on this one, so.
The most you learned thus far?
I'd say so, yeah. I think if you want to, I think you can learn a lot. Like there's some people that, like I did go to film school, but I did it much later in life.
Yeah.
My film school was, like I said, VHS and DVD commentary and stuff like that and reading books.
Yeah.
But, like that book, learned a lot from the Kubrick. That's a guy.
Speaking of Jack. Hey.
That guy is...
You line them up, all knock them back.
Definitely a control freak there, but the guy, he directed and he operated camera, he definitely had a vision. And I respect what he did, but I also understand that, some people kind of get turned off by that because they're like, well, that's not your job,
Right.
Let the cinematographer handle that.
Sure.
But it's like, I think you have to kind of, and this is just me, this is just me. I think that if people have a specific ego when they walk onto a film set, it's going to either cause friction or it's going to, not have you hired back for the next one.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of egos clash on some film sets, and you'll see people's like, why do they keep casting the same people over and over again? It's like because they are now a film family.
Yeah.
Now they have unity. Now they have a shorthand. Now they know. It's like, hey, you remember when we almost got pulled over by the police officer, on that one shot? Yeah. Let's not do that again.
Right.
So experience helps. But I think I've learned the most just by being my own editor. When I had my first cut of the movie Doll Eyes, I had, it was like an hour 45. And I was like, that's a pretty good length, and then I watched it again, and I took a break from it, and I was just like, I need to cut some more.
Right.
It's too long.
Yeah.
So I shaved it more. And then after a while, I got to a point, I was like, okay, now I've cut too much,
Sure.
So then I had to, I was like, well, we can massage this back in. But I had a lot of help from Parker. I had a lot of help from Andrea Dover, my sweetheart, Jessica Whitfield. And I had all my actors essentially just, they really contributed to a lot by saying, what if I tried it like this, And I was like, thank you. They're like, are you sure? Is that okay? I was like, yeah, because after a while I got to a point, I was like, you know what? They know their characters.
Right.
They're kind of steering the ship a little bit.
Yeah.
And if it's too weird, then I can make a correction. But for the most part, I was editing around some inspiration that they had. And the movie is I'm a big fan of David Lynch.
Okay.
Another movie that I watch all the time, favorite Lynch movie, probably his best in my opinion, is Blue Velvet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard movie to watch, but it's very, Americana, Gothic, weird stuff.
Right.
And Dennis Hopper is amazing in that movie. Great actor.
Yeah, Dennis,
he worked with James Dean,
Yeah. I mean, Dennis was a wild one, man.
And he was a director too.
Yeah.
I remember my buddy and I in high school, we watched a movie. He wanted to rent the movie because it had Jennifer Connelly and Virginia Madsen in it, and it was an R-rated movie. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But he's like, I was like, who directed this? He goes, Dennis Hopper. I was like, he's a director.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy.
He was a writer too, wasn't he?
He was a writer too.
Yeah.
He was a lot of stuff, and he he was such a fantastic actor. And like right around the time he was doing like River's Edge and Blue Velvet and a movie called Rumblefish by Francis Ford Coppola. He was on fire, and he had such a presence. And like, he's from Kansas.
Yeah.
You know, just super cool.
Was he
dude.
Wichita?
I think so.
Yeah.
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 But like he was an actor, director, photographer, you know, creative, you know, poet, you know, he was a true artist.
Yeah. He sort of started coming up, if I remember, kind of like during the beat poet era, didn't he? Wasn't he like sort of like right at the tail end of that, you know, and
he did a lot of cool Twilight Zone episodes too.
Yeah. Man, those Twilight Zone episodes, some of those older ones were wild, man.
Yeah. In fact, Doll Eyes is inspired by a Twilight Zone episode.
Really?
So my dad and I, we would watch Twilight Zone as like, it was on like, you know, late night TV.
Yep.
And I think it was maybe Channel 41.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. One of those late night stations. And I was like, do we have to watch this black and white TV show? He's like, no, you're going to want to watch this. Like, all right. I watched an episode called Living Doll.
Okay.
It had Telly Savalas in it.
Wow.
And it had, I don't know the actor's name, unfortunately, but it was a 1960s show.
Yeah.
And at the time there was a doll that was called Talkie Tina, I think. And I may be getting this wrong, but talking dolls were a big deal in the 60s, you know, toys that could talk and actually had electronics interacting with the plastic and stuff. Well, this one had basically an evil doll, and it was like, you know, a television episode. And Telly Savalas is like the second husband of this wife, and they're having money problems, and she comes home with the daughter, and the daughter's a little withdrawn, and essentially he's like, how much money did you spend on that doll? You know, he's mad about buying a doll. Yeah. So the doll's like, I don't like you. And it was really, really cool. And I saw it and I was like, I was creeped out by it, you know, and at the time I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, that stuck with me. So for years that stuck with me. And then in the 80s, there was a toy called My Buddy. Do you remember that?
Was it like the antithesis or whatever to the not Garbage Pail Kids?
Well, I think
Cabbage Patch Kid.
Yeah, it was kind of like a Cabbage Patch Kid for boys.
Yeah.
I had a cousin that had one of those, and he would just beat the crap out of it. Like it was trying to supposedly the idea was to boys could have dolls.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, they weren't called dolls.
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
It's like, isn't He-Man and G.I. Joe dolls?
Those are action figures.
No, they're action figures.
Yeah.
It's totally different. But, you know.
They're dolls.
I took a course in college called The Psychology of Play, and it's a really cool, you know, theory about children and toys and how they interact and how it teaches them to grow up in the world.
Yeah.
But right after My Buddy was a big hit, Tom Holland, who did Fright Night, did not that Tom Holland.
Yeah. No.
We're talking about Fright Night. Tom Holland did a movie called Child's Play.
Yeah.
Chucky.
Yeah. Yes.
The Chucky evil doll thing basically killed the My Buddy.
Yeah.
The My Buddy thing. So I was like, man. So I thought about Child's Play, and I thought about the Living Doll episode from Twilight Zone. I was like, I can't do Child's Play. I said, but if I could do a movie that is at least, you know, technically proficient as an old 60s Twilight Zone episode, I think I could stretch that out into a movie.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where I did. I was like, you know, we're going to be low budget. We're going to have some, you know, very unusual camera angles. We're going to have some very weird David Lynchy type stuff going on. But that was the inspiration for it. And I'm pretty proud of it. I don't think it's going to be for everybody, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
But if people are friends with me and they're just like, oh, what weird crap is Jason doing?
Yeah.
So I hope that people come see it. But it was a good exercise in setting up a shot, setting up the frame, trying to get your audio right, you know, trying to talk with the actors, and then, you know, also, you know, I was wearing like 19 hats on the production.
Yeah. So. What about as we start to wrap things up? What about, you know, it takes money to make movies, right?
It does.
So how do you go about finding financial resources outside of your own pocket?
I think having people that will, so being a producer isn't just about money. I think being a producer is just, having access to things that some people might not have.
Yeah.
So for example, I had access to, an old cinema camera, and I had access to old cinema glass and old photography glass. I had access because I paid for it,
Right.
So I had been building up my props. I'd been buying these dolls on eBay. I was getting a few funny looks from my girls. Like, why are you buying these creepy dolls?
Should hit me up, man. My oldest one's got like 30 of them above her bed.
Oh, wow.
Some of them she won't take. So she's like, this one has bad energy. And I'm like, okay.
Well, there's a whole fear that people have of dolls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of leaning into that. But yeah, going back to the producer thing, if you don't have money, you can have resources.
Yeah.
So I know a fellow filmmaker that has access to, a gas station. He owns some gas stations. He's like, hey, if you ever need to shoot here, you can shoot here. You have permission.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's like, that's a very expensive thing to rent in Los Angeles. But here in Kansas City, you can get stuff like that if you know some people. And then mainly, I think the main thing is just trying to be strategic about how you cast.
Sure.
Don't try and make Blade Runner, on a Budweiser budget.
Right.
Try and make, Clerks.
Sure.
On a Budweiser budget.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Blair Witch Project.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that one. That's for that one. I think about that phenomenon, and even when I saw it, it was always okay to me. But I know that it was just so well marketed. I don't even know if I would say it was well produced. It was what it was, but it was the way the marketing went down was just brilliant.
It was brilliant, and it was right on the edge of the internet becoming what it became. And I think,
before we realized that most everything on the internet's bullshit.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's still some belief and trust out there where now it's like, look, I know I saw this giant boar being ridden by a Sasquatch, but I don't think that's real. I think that's AI generated.
Yeah.
Do you think Kansas City's abilities to make movies has improved pretty well over the last 10, 20 years?
I think it has. I think we have a lot of good people that, the film commission and, the local talent, I've a lot of people that came up, as kids or now doing professional gigs. There's a lot of people that I still feel like they don't know how cool Kansas City is.
Yeah.
Think about the World Cup and then the Chiefs and then
the Royals run 10 years ago.
The World Series, and just everybody's like, no, this isn't a flyover state. This isn't a flyover city. It's like, there's some cool stuff here. And we have diverse locations. We have diverse cast, and we have lots of good, talented people and good actors. And, some like celebrities that came from here that are big now, like Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, Sudeikis, Eric Stone Street. Obviously, Don Cheadle is Chris Cooper. Ed Asner. He passed away a while ago,
and going back a little bit, outside of it, but Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
He's still kind of in the area.
There's over on what is it, 18th Street? Where the old Film Row is and the Crossroads. There's still some stars on the ground from Ginger Rogers was from here. Was it Joan Crawford? I think was from here.
I think so, yeah.
And the sidewalk's a little beat up, so they could probably fix up some of the sidewalk, and add some more people to that. It'd be pretty cool to see. I do like when you see was it Last of Us did a filming outside of downtown, which I thought was pretty cool for that show. And it always breaks my heart though when it's a show, as set in Kansas City, but they're filming down in Georgia or Oklahoma because they get better tax breaks, and you're like, God damn it!
Yeah. And that's the thing. Apparently Tulsa King was supposed to be set here.
It's supposed to be Kansas City King,
but because of the tax breaks, I think what would help is honestly getting a studio here. Like an actual studio satellite, I don't know what studio or who could do it or who could, fund it, but it's like, hey, we've got a plot of land over here in, Johnson County, or we got a plot of land over here, near the airport where we could build a studio and sound booth and all that, or, soundstage.
Yeah.
A legit soundstage
Sure.
and actually have like Studio City. Just you could transplant some of Studio City
Right.
over here, but keep these prices and keep this, kind of tax incentive going. I think Kansas City could blow up. And it might be. It might be. There's some stuff that I don't even know about.
Sure. One of my birthday gifts from my family was the soundtrack on CD of Robert Altman's Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
And I was telling my mother-in-law that movie, it saved Union Station.
Oh, yeah.
Union Station was boarded up.
That's true.
And then all it had was the bubble for Amtrak inside of it. And then Altman filmed because he's, Kansas City guy, and filmed that Grand Hall and utilized the Grand Hall. That's all that's really there. But that made Kansas Cityans be like, oh, we shouldn't plow this over and turn it into a parking lot. Like, we should save this thing. And a successful bi-state tax went into motion, and look at it now.
Yeah,
totally. You know what I mean? For the World Cup, there was a entrepreneurs market. Mm-hmm. I mean, we go through there all the time with Science City and whatnot, and there's always things happening out there. And you can still go to Union, or Amtrak that way. But so many people that come visit Kansas City, they go through that place and they're like, God, this is gorgeous. And it's wild to think it almost got plowed over for it to become a parking lot.
Funny story. Today is my stepmom's birthday, and her mother and some of her family were in the movie Kansas City, and they were actually able to keep a prop from it. I think it was a tree.
Okay. And
they planted the tree, and then the tree eventually passed away, but they took the tree and made it into like an angel or something.
Oh, cool.
So it's like there's it's movie history, as a piece of art.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kansas City, it could pop off even more. And there's so many young people that are interested in film.
Yeah.
Especially because it's so easy now.
It's
a lot easier, but it's also getting noticed and getting out there. And I think a lot of people need to study the business side of it.
Yeah.
Really study the business, the boring side of it.
Sure. Yeah.
The spreadsheets,
the call
scheduling.
Times, the scheduling,
all that
the
stuff.
Pre-production.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got another idea for another movie now? Or are you trying to just focus in on Doll Eyes, get that where it needs to be, and then catch your breath?
I toyed at the idea of doing like a trilogy of doll movies, but I don't know. I'd have to, I want to see how this one plays and see if maybe I can collaborate with some of the better connected filmmakers that we know around here. I'd love to work with Patrick Ray on something. The guy, man, compared to me, he's cranking them out, and I think he's got something.
He's figured out his formula.
He's got a formula, and he's got, he knows a lot of the business stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always, every once in a while, I was like, hey, Patrick, what about this?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, sorry, I'm busy on a set right now, but
Yeah.
But he's cool as hell. And Anthony Laddish, Davis DeRock, Chad Crenshaw.
Yep.
Those guys, Method Media. There's all kinds of good people around here. And a lot of those people, Ronin Stunt Company, we have a local stunt company that works on some of these big projects, like they worked on Ted Lasso,
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff around here that I think that we could realistically, if I'm going to make another movie, I'd like to have a budget this time.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to have a budget and, a production manager and stuff, but I have a couple of ideas. I've keep kicking around. Like I have a character I made called the Iron Detective.
Yeah, remember that.
I had one that was actually kind of inspired by the original Big Trouble in Little China idea. A cowboy versus, demons and stuff.
Yeah.
And the Old West in Kansas,
Yeah.
We're calling it American Evil. And my girl, Andrea, has been working on a book based on that because it's cheaper to write a book.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So if the book takes off, we might say, hey, we'd like to turn this into a short film or maybe a feature, or maybe a Netflix series. I don't know. It just depends.
So you've got With Doll Eyes. I know that's going to be showcased at the end of the month, and then
Glenwood Arts.
And then where does it go from there? You're going to try and get into some festivals.
I have entered in about 16 festivals. I've entered in the Toronto International Film Festival. I entered in one called the LA Skins Fest, which is a Los Angeles film festival. And they're really cool. They've actually had me there a couple times. In fact, Parker was in a project called Jack Skull, and it played there, but it was a short film. And it's like, I can't justify the cost of going out to LA for that.
Yeah.
But if our feature gets in there, I'll definitely go check it out there. And that plays at the Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But it's playing at those festivals, and I'm sorry, it's entered into those festivals.
Right.
I hope that it plays there.
Right.
And there's a bunch of things. You know, I may just, you know, I may release it for free. You know, it just depends.
Yeah. Because
it's a weird movie. It's definitely, it doesn't fit any conventional formula, but it's like, I'm definitely to see how it reacts in a theatrical setting.
Sure.
Because, you know, I mean, you know this, you're watching a movie at home, it's like 19 distractions.
Oh, 100%.
You know? But if you watch a movie at the theater,
you're there.
Like, I'd love to see the Odyssey, but I'm like, you know, there's so many compromises you got to make, because one, it's a 3-hour movie, and two, is it really IMAX? Are you really seeing the whole picture? And three, it's like, don't drink a lot of beverage.
Yeah. I've heard a couple of my friends, one of them saw it and said he had to go up and go pee once. So he missed part of it. And another buddy of mine that saw it said he didn't drink any water beforehand, and he sat down with one IPA, and that was it. So he could sit through the whole thing to watch it.
Nice.
But I'm like, 3-hour movie. Who's got time for that anymore? You know?
It's a commitment.
It is a commitment. Well, I appreciate you hanging out today, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for letting me chat with you.
Thanks for having on.
Yeah, bud.
The two Jasons.
I don't know. Can't go wrong with two Jasons. This is the first time I've ever interviewed another Jason.
Really?
Yeah. I wasn't sure what was going to happen when the worlds collided, but I think it's holding up okay.
Well, hopefully it's not the last.
I hope not, right? There it is. Well, thank you once again, Mr. Jason Turner, for joining us today on Kansas City with Jason Nivens. And as we talked about in this episode, there is an old film row, believe it or not, in Kansas City. So from the 1920s to the 1960s, the offices were located between 17th and 19th Streets in today's Crossroads Arts District, as well as Wyandotte and Central. And as I mentioned, if you go up 18th Street, just west of Wyandotte, you'll come across Kansas City's Walk of Fame. Joan Crawford's name is there, Walt Disney's there, Jean Harlow, just to name a few. We could probably add some maybe from today, some stars, why not? And if you're interested in filmmaking, I highly recommend you check out these guys. They're absolutely awesome. Independent Filmmakers Coalition of Kansas City have done a lot of stuff in the past with the IFCKC. Check them out online, ifckc.org. They also meet the third Wednesday of every month at the Bird Comedy Theater, which is also located inside of the Crossroads Arts District. So thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that. And of course, hats off as always to super producer Parker for gluing this whole thing together. And let us know who should we chat with next. KCJN Media at gmail.com. KCJN Media at gmail.com. Peace.
I ain't afraid. I got a bed with God.
Thanks for listening to Kansas City with Jason Nivens. We appreciate you, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, we'll catch you next time.